quote of the day: we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. So, today we'll be covering how to rebrand yourself. And I think the best anime which I thought, maybe it's not the best anime, but I think an anime which covers this very well and a lot of people can resonate with just due to how popular it is Solo Leveling. I think Solo Leveling lays out a blueprint to understand how to rebrand yourself, because in terms of the story, it's nothing major, no significant in terms of storyline. There's some crazy people that have told me that this is probably the greatest anime of all time. I don't see it like that, but I see there's teachings and there's things that you can learn from the anime, which many people would just not look at, just due to the fact that it's animation and it's just a simple story. But I think in terms of what makes it simple is what a lot of people don't pay attention to. And with rebranding, I think it's done very well. And in that anime, I think what Solo Leveling does, it shows certain aspects of rebranding and certain things that you need to do with rebranding yourself. And if you haven't watched Solo Leveling, I do recommend it. It's a top anime right now and it is one of the best animes. I think it took out a lot of awards. However, it is a good anime to understand basic fundamentals if you're trying to get better in your life or change your life, and especially if you want to rebrand your life. So in regards to this, I will be covering key points, and the key points that I want to start with is building a system. So it's a sense, discipline or growth. So with Jinwoo, if you haven't watched Solo Leveling, do watch it. But Jinwoo is just the typical weak individual, no strength, weakest one in the verse. However, his passion and his ambition doesn't single him out. I think his near-death experience changed his perspective on understanding people and understanding that good guys finish last. I think a lot of us hear this and we don't really get it, but the truth is good guys always finish last. Not just because they're good guys. I just think in terms how the show shows it is that everyone is good at heart. However, when it is time to survive and look after yourself, everyone's going to look after yourself. So why don't you as an individual look after yourself or put yourself first? And I think Jinwoo faced the harsh realities of that early on because he had a near-death experience, and in that option it allowed him, or the game in a sense allowed him to choose, does he want to do things again? But obviously it's beautiful having the opportunity to do things again. However, what things are essential to starting again? Like if I told you to start again now from birth, everyone will tell me, oh, I'm gonna invest in crypto, I'm gonna do this and that, but that's nothing to do with yourself. So the most important thing is, what would you do and what would you change about yourself? And I think what it highlights in Solo Leveling that it did is that a system. And I think a system is very important. And what you might be thinking, what system? So Jinwoo has been given the opportunity to have a system, like he is a player and he has attributes, he has missions, he has things he has to do to grow. And this allows him to gain strength, and obviously he gets to see what it does for him. And with doing so, we see how the system changes him from the weakest hunter to the strongest hunter. And this is the system. The system is essential because what our system allows is habits that forms. So in terms of what the system does, it keeps him accountable for his actions, and his actions are, for example, to run. The system had him running, doing objectives and doing things to improve himself, and that's the key thing. These were tasks and systems and guidance for him to get stronger, and we can set these things ourselves. We can set goals and things to make sure that we achieve our goals. And you're like, yeah, habits are good, da 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 da. However, in a sense, what you have to remember is building these habits has to become normal. The problem is when we try to build habits for ourselves is that we do them here and there, then we take days off, do things like that. That doesn't necessarily build habits. What we need to do is focus on building that habit and doing that consistently when it just becomes a normality. Like your brain just functions to think, I have to do these certain things. And due to that, you're going to improve in certain things in your life, like reading, gym, you're going to see the result of it, and it's just going to become a thing that you are naturally doing. You're not, and the thing is, you will understand it later on once it has become a habit and it just become your normal day of life. And what also solo leveling does with this system is that the system allows Jinwoo to be held accountable. And I really mean accountable. I think a lot of us, the issue is we don't hold ourselves accountable. And the reason we do so is because you can't trust yourself. And some people can, some people can't. However, I think in terms of habits, what the system allows is that if he doesn't do this certain thing, there is a punishment. And I think for myself, I have failed a lot of things due to the fact that I've not held myself accountable. But to do so and to get better with my accountability, I have made pacts with my friends for them to hold me accountable. And if I don't do it, it's a hefty fine. And I tell you, it's a hefty fine. But it's understanding that there is things to hold you accountable. And I think a very good book that you can read is Atomic Habits, which has different habits and things that you can do cater to yourself. So mine is accountability, and the way I can do that is by having pacts with my friends to hold me accountable for certain things that I want or challenge myself. Because if I do it for myself, I promise you, I'm just that type of person where I can leave for a day or two, just push it off. But you see how that accountability and habits in the system being in place allows Jinwoo to improve. And it's a simple thing that, every power level, but it's a simple thing that you don't notice, but it's simple things that you can do that can change your life to be better or improve your life. And another thing I would say in terms of Jinwoo, which is very important, is the mindset. I think everyone wants to be the strongest or wants to be certain things. However, the reason why we're not there is because of our mindset. I say good guys finish last is the truth. And I think you gotta start feeling sorry for yourself. I think a lot of us feel sorry and feel like someone's gonna come and save us, or there's gonna be a big hero, or some magic thing's gonna give us the money, and then once we have the money, we'll be able to do so many great things. No. Life don't work like that. And I think in terms of what solo leveling does, it shows us that an individual's mindset in the beginning, being weak, taken advantage of, and humans showing their true colors. And in Soul, that shifted his mentality to say, like, I can't be on that side. I have to be the one rescuing, or I have to be the one calling the shots. The strongest dictates everything. In terms of power, everything in real life, it is the same way. The people in power really dictate everything. So why do you have to wait for them to dictate your life? Why don't you take your life and control your own life? You control your own fate. And I think with that, it's shifting from being a victim to your creator. You are a creator in the sense you are able to create the reality that you want to be, or create the life that you want to do. In that soul, it requires sacrifice and so many things that you need to do. And like I said in my previous videos, it is in a sense, are you willing to do it yourself? Some people are, some people aren't. And I think it's one of them things where you have to look at yourself and be like, am I willing to do so? If not, cool. However, you can't look at everyone saying, this, that. And I think what Jinwoo does is he holds himself accountable and realizes the only person who can change his life and change the people's in his life is himself. And in a sense, he was not even focused on fame, money, or anything like that. That came along with once he achieved his personal goal or what he wanted initially, which is strength. And with that strength came fame and all that. A lot of us aim to focus on fame and all these things, and then it doesn't come, and you're like, why? I'm focused on it. But the thing is, you need to focus on yourself first before you change other things, or these things come. These things will come naturally once you change yourself or change the way you move. And sometimes the harsh truth is you really need to focus on yourself, and for example, holding yourself accountable, doing the graft and doing the sacrifice and then it'll all come. And I think that's the honest truth with solo leveling. I think solo leveling just covers it in a simple way, but it's so simple that a lot of us don't realize it, that we can, for example, live a life like Jinwoo, or attribute or get certain things like Jinwoo. And it's so simple that it just goes over our heads. And I think that's what the beautiful thing with solo leveling is, a simple anime with simple things that you can do and attribute to yourself. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to be buying monsters and all that stuff. No, it's about understanding that there is habits that can be created, a system that you create that will trickle down to improve yourself in certain things. And then also you have to change your mindset, start being a victim. If you're gonna be a victim, you're just always gonna be a victim. And it's about shifting that, I can dictate my life, and to do so I need to do certain things to change my life, and I need to stop seeing myself as a victim and expecting someone to come and save my life or give me this £1,000,000 and then I'm gonna be good. If you get that £1,000,000 at the end of the day in that same state or the same way you view life, it's just gonna be gone in a week or two or a month. It's just a good way to make you feel good about yourself. But the thing is, the harsh truth is, money ain't gonna come to you if you ain't ready. Once you're ready and you've done all the things to yourself to achieve it or change yourself, then the money will come. A lot of us are waiting for money, but money can't come to us because we're not there. We're not the person that the money needs, or the money needs to come to, if you understand. I think with solo living, it just does a beautiful way of showing this in a simple way. And I think most important thing is about building a system and discipline, and also shifting your mindset, and also realizing you have to sacrifice certain things to achieve your goals. And if you are willing to do so, you can be that Jinwoo.